Welcome into Mike and Ed's Barbecue, another edition of the Glenwood Football Coaches Show. I'm Chris Blackshear alongside the coach, Ryan Nelson. And Coach, Wes normally fills in, but he's hanging out with Bill Belichick, and unfortunately he brought his typical luck of a loss to them up there. He's coming back, but thanks for letting me come back and host the show one time. An important game upcoming as well, too, with the second season where everybody's back to 0-0 on the season.
That's correct. Well, Chris, thank you for being here so much, and always thank Chase and Abby and the Cook family and Mike and Ed's Barbecue. It's packed down here tonight on a Monday night. So he's selling some good barbecue tonight, and it's always special to be down here.
Well, I've already, before we came on the air, I must confess, I did go ahead and get the pound real plate, the all meat plates. You just have to when you come here.
You do.
All right, so let's get right into things. It's the regular season's a wash. In fact, I can't even tell you what happened even the last week of the season or any of the other season, because at this point, it doesn't matter.
That's correct.
What matters now is it's down to a one-game season, or 1 week at a time, should we say, with the ultimate goal playing 2 games.
Right.
So Outaugah's coming back to town this week for the semifinals. Actually, make sure we go and note, we'll remind you at the end of the show again, the game is actually Thursday night at the Swamp on the campus at Glenwood, 8 o'clock Eastern time kickoff. A team that we played back on Friday the 13th, October the 13th, beat them 42-7. Wet conditions, just a miserable night for football. But your team came out and responded well, but the same message that we're going to have to our team this week about it's a whole new season. It doesn't matter what you did before. Same thing for Outaugah. They had a first-round game last week, had a tough battle, actually, against Bessemer. Won that game, I think it was 29-20. Was the final score, so Outaugah's already played their way in. We've had a week off after the game at Chambers. So actually about a week and a half, almost 2 weeks off till we play another game. What's been the off week like? Once the game ended at Chambers, you flushed that, you flushed the season. What's been the time frame spent with this football team leading up to this week's game?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, what a great regular season we had, and getting back to the Chambers game, we finished the season 9-1, and obviously we went down there and it wasn't the result that we wanted to have, and we came up about a half a yard short at the end, and all the things that really didn't go our way. Our level of play wasn't up to par from what I thought or what it was all year, but we battled. So I was really, really proud of the kids, the way we battled for 4 quarters. We were in a 4-quarter game, which we hadn't been in, I think, since Lee Scott. So that's big for me. And then, just to see our guys, continue to compete at the end of the game, and a couple things that go our way. So we end up getting beat, but sometimes reality hits you in the face, and so we had to get back to work. And so we took a few days off. Kind of just to heal some guys up and give our kids some time away. And then that Tuesday, last Tuesday, we got back in the building. We didn't have an opponent yet, so we kind of just worried about ourselves and things like that. So wherever we get back in the weight room, first and foremost, hit the weights real hard, and then get back to fundamentals. And I think that's the big thing for us is just doing the little things right now this time of year, the blocking, the tackling, the throwing, the catching, the meshing up, the backpedaling with DBs, and just doing the little things that you go back, you do in the summer, and you're trying to get ready. But like you said, Chris, it is the second season, and we're here. And so we woke up Friday morning with an opponent. They playing on Thursday night, and it was a great ball game between them and Bessemer. And so we're back in the building Saturday morning at 8 o'clock, and kind of our week bumps up now. So our typical Sunday was our Saturday this week. Yesterday, Sunday, was kind of our Monday. So we was at the field practicing. Yesterday on the field and doing our normal Monday deal. So back at it again today. So it's a quick week. We play on Thursday, but the good thing is we've had a full week prepared, and we do got a big tall task in front of us because the same thing we talked about when we played them the first time. They got tremendous speed with their football team, and they got tremendous athletes. And the weather's not going to be a factor this time. The ground's not going to be wet. It ain't going to be a mud piles out there. So we got to figure out how to slow them down a little bit.
So let's talk about this a little bit. As a coach, the ultimate goal is pretty much the impossible, and that's win every game that you play. That's always the goal, but few teams obtain that. So I would like to get your thought on some people hear the talk of, hey, sometimes a loss is good or a good loss, especially, I guess, if a loss gives you the opportunity to still have a kind of a redo or another chance to bounce back from it. How's the team responded since that loss at Chambers? Because you were number 1 all season long.
Right.
Or 9-0 all the way up to that point. Of your point, it had been 5 weeks since you had played a full 4-quarter game.
Right.
How did you see your team respond? It seems like the light went off there in the second half. had a chance to come down because they didn't give up any points in the second half.
Yep.
And you battled, and you had a chance. When you see all of that and how this team responded with the loss, where are you standing as your mindset of where you think this football team is?
I think the biggest thing for me and our football team, Chris, no doubt about it, we want to be 10-0. And we worked our tails off all year to be 10-0. And that was the goal. And, you kind of after the regular season, you reset your goals to try to get new goals. But that was a big goal we want to obtain and something we was trying to put our name in the history books. And we came up short. And so, at the end of the day, when you fall on your face like that and you do come up short, you do find out the character of your team and your kids. And I think, the best thing for me as a head coach is I've seen our guys go back to work. And the most important for me is, just little things that, you take for granted in the building, whether it be walkthroughs, whether it be that, those last couple of reps in the weight room, whatever it may be, is when you're sitting there 8-9-0 and you may kind of lit up a little bit because you think you're invincible. Well, we got hit in the mouth a little bit that Friday night. So it kind of makes everybody's eyes open up a little bit, coach's eyes open up a little bit. And, there's some things that, we've had to change. Offensively and defensively to try to give our team a better chance. It was when you say a good loss, I don't like to lose. I never want to lose. I don't believe there is good losses. But when you go back and you reevaluate what happened to us, as a coach, you really just try to make corrections so it doesn't happen the same way, when we step on the field again.
And I'll rephrase that then. A teachable moment.
There you go. That's
teachable
the
/
way.
coachable moment.
And if anybody tell you that when they're around me when we lose, I hate to lose. I don't want to lose, and I'm not fun to be around when we lose. So, I have high expectations for our program, for our kids, and like I said, we wanted to be 10-0. We wanted to be 12-0, and that was a big time goal we set back in the summer. And me and you've talked about this before. The good thing is we get to do it again. It wasn't like we're in the playoffs where if you lose, it's over with. So, hindsight's 20/20. If somebody's going to tell me if we had to lose, I'd rather be game 10 than game 11 or game 12, to be honest with you.
All right, we need to step aside here. We're bumped up against our first break here from Mike and Ed's Barbecue. We'll step aside when we come back. We'll continue our conversation with head football coach Ryan Nelson and really dig into the details of the Generals of Watauga, what they've improved on, opportunities we may have in the upcoming semifinal game. We'll be back right after this timeout. Back to Mike and Ed's Barbecue, the Glenwood Football Coaches Show, where they tell you here, come in, pick out with us. Like everybody else is doing it here tonight. He's Coach Nelson. I'm Chris Blackshear, back for segment 2 of the Coaches Show. And Coach, we said early in the first segment that Watauga came to town back, actually almost right at 4 weeks ago, so October the 13th, 42-7 victory. But I know leading into that game that there were so many things that really scared you about that football team.
Yeah.
And it was all about how good of a start your team got off to.
That's correct.
Going into this Friday's game, from where they were 4 weeks ago to where they are after what you saw Thursday night against Bessemer, what has changed in this football team?
Well, first and foremost, they've changed quarterbacks. Okay, they put more of an athlete at quarterback. The guy's a tremendous athlete. So now you kind of got a two-headed snake back there with number 6 and number 7. So they've done that, and they've improved. And when we played them the first time, I really think the elements of the game, as far as a wet field, slowed them down a little bit. But they had speed then, and they got speed now, and so that hasn't changed. And so they got a lot of those guys that the receivers and running backs and stuff that are said they have sold out. They're playing them both ways now, so it's going to be a challenge. I mean, they're going to be fast, and hopefully we can figure out how to wear them down a little bit physically on both sides of the ball. But number 7 for them he's electrifying. He's a great player. He's really fast, and he's a great back, and we got to figure out how to get him to the ground.
Now, from your perspective and your personnel and staff, do you, again, it's really down to a one-game season. You just alluded to it with Watauga really just saying, basically, I'm putting my best 11 on the field. And whatever it takes, they know they've got to take some chances. But the biggest thing about it, they know they have an opportunity in front of them now coming here, and they only need to have same thing as us. You know, you got to have your best 48 minutes.
That's correct.
Thursday night. From your team's perspective, how do you feel things? What must happen differently than happened last time against Otago to give you the best opportunity to have success you're looking for Thursday?
Well, I ain't so much saying that we got to go in and change our game plan. Obviously, you're going to tweak some things here and there. That's coaching football, because obviously they're going to tweak some things. But I think the biggest thing for us is coming off a bye week is we got to figure out how to play at a high level like we were playing then. And it's always scary as a coach when you come off that bye week, where you're at mentally, where you're at physically. And we do got a couple guys banged up right now, so we've had to go back and revamp some things, like I said earlier, within our program. And you're probably going to see a couple guys having to play a little bit more both ways on both sides of the ball. But we're built off depth, and I think that's the one good thing about our program is we got 68 players, and it's always a next man up mentality. So. Next guy up, they got to make plays. And but as far as changing and all that kind of stuff, Chris, yeah, we're going to tweak our game plan. Yeah, we're going to kind of react to some things they did to us that hurt us that we got to be able to game plan for. But ultimately, it's one in the trenches. We got to block, we got to tackle, we got to run the football, and we have to stop the run.
No, you alluded to it in the first segment, and kind of let's dig a little deeper into this. From you're dealing with now with the 9th through 12th graders, having 9th graders, so you're dealing with a bunch of 14 through 17-year-olds, and a sporadically thrown in recently turned 18-year-old kid on his football team. From the expectations of the coach, as you said, you expected to be here. What's the difficult challenge with having kids in that age group to really making sure they show up every day, giving full potential, and maximizing their practice effort and making them understand how that carries over into a football game?
The most important thing for me as a coach to answer your question is I've been here and done this. I've been in playoff football this is my 15th year coaching, so I think I missed the playoffs one time in my career. I think that the level of urgency has to go through the roof right now, because you never know when that last practice is. You never know when that last game is, and you never want it to be. But if you're not ready to play on any given Thursday or Friday, then you're sitting in the house next week. The senior season is over with. Everybody else is done with football. You disperse and you go do something else. So that's the biggest thing that I've been preaching since we've been in the building on Saturday is the level of urgency in everything we do. The weight room, the walkthroughs, the watching film, the practice time. Everything we do has got to be at a high level. Because if you can prepare at a high level, then you'll give yourself a chance to play at a high level. And if you don't, I've been on teams where you come off big wins or big losses going into the playoffs, and that level of urgency ain't there, then it don't end good for you in that ball game.
And that goes back to where I was trying to tie in the mental aspect of things of kids buying into understanding what happened the last regular season game at Chambers. If that's repeated, any of the next 2 leagues, it's not, hey, we're regrouping and we're meeting Monday morning at 7 a.m. It's, hey, when you get at 8 o'clock, bring me your equipment.
That's correct.
That fine line that you have an opportunity, you use that get out of jail free card.
Yeah, well, and that's what I tell the kids. I told them Saturday morning, there are no more do-overs. Either we do it or we don't. It's win or go home right now, and that's what I love about high school football and the playoffs, because it is a one-game deal, and everybody's fighting for their life in one game. So we just got to figure out how to come out and play a clean football game. And, I want to see us get back to playing, at a high level. And, I was not pleased how we played at Chambers 2 weeks ago at all. And I felt like, offensively, that's probably the worst game we played all year. And, I also say, I got to get better as a coach, too. I'll tell you that, too. I always take the blame when we lose. It's not on the kids. That's what I told the kids. It's my fault I didn't have them ready to play. But we've got to play better, and we've got to do the little things better. And then, defensively, we got to be able to stop the run. There's two things that really, stood out to me in that ball game against Chambers is, offensively, we didn't really block very well. We didn't catch the ball. We didn't run the ball very well at times, and we didn't stop the run very well. So, combination of that will get you beat every time you line up on Friday night. So, we've got to figure back out how. The first 5 weeks of the year, we were playing really, really good football. Not saying we played bad the next 5 weeks. It's just we didn't really play no full quarter games. And we kind of, at halftime, the games were kind of over with. So we got to figure out, how to come out and play at a high level this week. But most importantly, it doesn't matter what it looks like as long as we win. We got to win and move on. That's playoff football at any level, playoff basketball, playoff baseball. It's finding ways to win, no matter if it's, winning by 20, winning by 30, winning by 1, winning by 2. It doesn't matter if it's a high-scoring game, low-scoring game. All that is out the window right now. You've got to find a way just to win the game by 1 point and get to the next round.
And it's something that made me think, too, is that week that you had off when you said you went back and really focused on yourself. Coaches, how can we get better? Players, how can we get better? One good thing I'm pretty sure was spent a lot of that time was in the film room. Because there's one thing, we can tell you what you did, we can talk about what you need to improve on. That film doesn't lie.
It does not.
It does not lie. So how was that session? I just felt like there was a lot of opportunity to give coaching and even more opportunities to receive the coaching from the players' perspective.
And we spent 2 days on that film. Usually we spend a day on the previous Friday night, and we spent last Tuesday, watching the whole first half, and we spent last Wednesday watching the whole second half. So very, very good teachable points. I give their coaches, and their staff a great job for game planning us and being ready for us and stuff like that. But again, Chris, I don't know how to say any other way. If we can find ways to execute on both sides of the ball, we're in the right spot. We got to make plays, and I think we win a ball game. And but again, the Lord, it wasn't in His will for us to win that ball game the other night, and it's okay. Like you said, it's a learning point. It's a teaching point. So, the best thing for me is, we get a chance to go back and play again and go back to redeem ourselves and see what we can do. And we got something to prove right now.
All right, well, let's step aside now for our final break here on the Glenwood Football Coaches Show. When we come back, we'll wrap things up here for Mike and Ed's Barbecue in Phoenix City, leading in to the semifinal game. We'll be back right after this. Back to Mike and Ed's Barbecue for the final segment here on the Glenwood Football Coaches Show. Coach, what do they say? You can smell their butts for miles.
That's right.
Today it was the ribs.
They was.
That I was trying.
I had them Saturday.
You had them said they were good.
Hot. You gotta get them hot though.
Gotta get them fresh.
Hot sauce and Chase does a really.
I like
really
the dry rub. You really need to mess it up with the sauce in my perspective. So in other words, hey, it's not Burger King, but you can still have it your way.
That's
here.
right. That's right.
All right, final segment here. Let's get down to it. 8 o'clock Eastern Time, kickoff Thursday night from the Swamp on the campus of Glenwood. The Generals of Autauga back for the second time in a month. With a lot riding on this one. It's like the last time. I think that was the region championship clinching game, and that one last time it came there. But a lot more than that. You'll cash in that region championship now to cash your ticket to the Crampton Bowl. The winner of this game advances the following Thursday night, which I think is the 16th.
That's right.
16th of November to play the winner of the other semifinal game, which is Fort Dale and Lee Scott. That game's at Lee Scott Thursday night as well. Two good matchups.
Yep.
So give me your top three keys. For Glenwood to win the football game and advance to the state championship, you must what?
First and foremost, we got to finish our preparation all the way up till we meet Thursday morning for prayer breakfast. So we got to finish out. It's a quick week, like we stated earlier. So to me, that's number one. Is preparing and mentally getting ready to play. Number two is number 7 for them. We got to find a way to stop him. and he's that good. He's that electrifying. So we've got to do a good job. And we've been preaching all week is rally to the ball, tackle him, get into the ground. So when you say stop number 7, you got to stop the run. It's number 2, and I think number 3 for us is we got to be able to run the football and be effective running the football. So I think playoff football is you win championships playing defense. I think everybody in the country knows that. You got to be good and sound defensively to win. But it goes back as simple as it sounds is stopping the run and running the football. And they do a good job of with their special teams. They're going to come out and they're going to fake punts. They're going to onside kick. That's one thing they've changed a lot since the first time we played them. So we've got to be ready, be sound on special teams. And I want our guys to understand that it's just this time of year is not promised to anybody. Next week ain't promised in the game of high school playoffs. And we all want to get back to the state championship game. But if we're not ready to play, Chris, it's not going to be good for us Thursday. So as great as the year has been, we end up going 9-1 in the regular season. And we win the region championship. And it's been a wonderful year. It's been an exciting and fun year. I've really enjoyed this senior group, all 20 of them. It's been awesome, man. But, everybody, we got to finish. And I think, we talked about this a lot last year, talked about early in the season. That's one thing that, Glenwood High School hasn't done. And it's been over 30 years since we won a state championship. So with the football program, we hadn't finished. So that's kind of where I'm at with our group and our team right now. We're trying to find ways to finish. But you can't be 2-0 until you go 1-0. And so we are trying to do everything we can right now just to, just prepare ourselves mentally with practice and walkthroughs and film and all that kind of good stuff. And then hopefully our guys come out. We should be fresh. Our legs should be up under us come Thursday. And hopefully we can figure out how to play the best game we played so far this year.
All right, here's my analysis for playoff football. I've only been around and seen it for a couple of years, and it seems like in the games, it's amazing to your point, you're 9-1 in the regular season. But it's amazing when you get in playoff time how the margin of error and the window for your error shrinks. Even if it is like playing another team, like we're playing Thursday night. And it seems like it always comes down to a critical turnover at some point in the game, or B, a critical play in a positive way for you or in a negative way in the special teams. Talk about how the importance, especially of protecting the football on special teams.
Well, that was the one thing that we did a horrible job, last time we were out is with turnovers. We turned the ball over 3 times. We threw 2 interceptions. One of them backed up inside our own 5-yard line, and then on an RPO, which the ball should have never been thrown. And that's my fault. And then we also fumbled the ball right there as we got a drive going down. So you can't expect to win any kind of game turning the ball over 3 times, especially a game in the playoffs or anything like that. So yes, that is going to be huge. And then we all know the third phase of the game is always, the biggest phase in my eyes anyway, is special teams. And if you're not sound or you lose on special teams, all you got to do is lose another third of the game, and you lose 2/3, you're going to lose the football game. So we've really worked our tails off this week. With all their fakes and all their onside kicks and all that kind of stuff like that. And obviously, with our kickoff team, kicking it not to number 7. He broke one on us last time we played him. So we just got to find a way to be sound special teams, and win special teams, and then find a way to win one of the other sides of the ball and be successful and win the game.
All right, well, there is one thing that you said, nothing's promised. But there is one thing that's promised. This senior group's playing their last game, lacing them up, and running that football field at the Swamp. That ought to give them a little motivation itself, not only for them to play their best and remember that game, but also from a crowd support. So here's your chance to give a shout out and a calling for the fans to come out and support Thursday night. Only show in town.
That's right.
There's no other show in town.
Well, last time we played at home, we had I think we played them. At home we had a great crowd, and the vibe was upbeat. It was a very, very good environment. So, like you said, we're only showing town on Thursday night. The weather is going to be perfect. It's going to be great weather for our fans to come out, and we need the support. We got to have them, and you got to cheer these kids on. We got to get up on third downs. We got to get up and cheer these kids on throughout the game. And there's no reason for you not to show up. We got a great football team right now. Again, we're 9-1, and we're playing for a chance to be back to the state championship for year 2. Which would be a huge accomplishment for this program to go back-to-back state championship games. But we can't worry about that. We'll worry about that if we can find a way to win on Thursday. But most importantly, we just got to find a way to play our best game this Thursday night.
Well, Coach, thanks for spending some time with us, and all the luck in the world come Thursday night.
I appreciate it, Chris. And thank you so much for being here, and for everything you did, and thank you for Sunday night for helping cook for the kids. We had some hamburgers and some hot dogs, and shout out to my father and you and Greg Graham and Greg Ballard, and thank y'all so much for coming, Hunter Dawkins for coming up there and just volunteering your time and serving these kids. The kids loved it, they enjoyed it, and we ate good. We all left for full bellies, and just the main thing for me is just, show up for these kids, the fans, and be loud, cheer the Gators on, and let's go have fun Thursday night.
Well, that's going to do it here for Mike and Ed's Barbecue. And a reminder, the game kicks off 8 o'clock Eastern Time Thursday night on the campus of Glenwood School. Semifinals of the AISA. Final time the Gators will be playing in the AISA playoffs before they transition to the private school AHSAA starting with the 2023-2024 season. For Coach Ryan Nelson, I'm Chris Blackshear. See you Thursday night. Until then, so long, everybody.
Go Gators.